Today is October 19th, 2022. I am your host, Isaac Foxx, and this is Action Wrestling News, the show that gives you wrestling insight, news, and opinions daily. On today's show, we're going to be reviewing AEW and NXT. Today was an interesting day yesterday because they had like a doubleheader. So, not even a doubleheader. Both shows just kind of competed against each other. So, I ended up watching AEW, I believe, a little bit on a delay, but on the same day that it happened. And I just got finished watching NXT as I'm recording the show right now. But before we get into that, if you would like to support the show, you can donate $5 to receive a shout out. Just go to actionwrestlingnews.podbeam.com to donate. You will see a link that says support the show at the top. Also, the best way to support the show is to share this show with all your friends and to give us a review. If you would like to contact the show, you can do so by sending us an email at actionwrestlingnews@gmail.com. Also, we are on YouTube. Every Monday, I plan on doing a live stream, and you can find these podcasts on YouTube as well. Just go ahead and search for us. Our name will be Action Wrestling News, and you can find us there. Just want to get into a couple of news items here. I'm about to, let's do this off top. So first of all, Final Battle was announced. It's going to be on December 10th. At 3 p.m. Eastern time. I thought that was a weird time. They tried to justify it on TV saying that the college football playoffs or the college football games in general are around that time. So I guess it could be a good time to have that. Oh, I'm sorry. No, there are no games on at that time. So it's a good time to have that pay-per-view. I mean, I don't know how much demand there is for a pay-per-view in the middle of the day. I mean, who's really buying that in the middle of the day? I mean, I may watch it on a delay. I mean, I'm matter of fact, I have to watch it on a delay because I have a regular 9-to-5 job. Yes, that is a Saturday, but if I review that show, I have to buy it, watch it, and probably watch it Saturday night in order to have a review for you guys on Sunday. Yes, I will be reviewing Ring of Honor Final Battle. That's in December. We'll get more information on that the closer we get to that date. Hold on. There's another piece of news, but I'm going to combine that with the review of AEW. So first, let me get some show information out here for the schedule. So tomorrow, you will be hearing an ECW One Night Stand 2006 review. When I did the review for 2005, it got a really good response. So decided to circle back with you guys and do another review of that show, but this time of 2006. That'll be on the podcast for Thursday. On Friday, we're going to have a Halloween Havoc prediction show. And I've mentioned to you guys that I'm going to be doing a review of a independent wrestling show. It's going to be of AEW Pro. It was the Jim Lynn Memorial Tournament show. I believe the show was taped over a span of ran over 2 days. I'm not sure it was actually two different shows, but what I would do, yes, I will be doing a review of that show, and that will be your Friday show. So you want to stay tuned for that. And that's something I actually will probably do on these Friday shows. I'm probably going to make it my business to do a review on a show that not everyone might have heard of. I only bring this up because while AEW, looking at their following, looking at their page, they are a very popular promotion. They seem to be local to the Chicago area, which is where I'm from, which is why I am aware of them. But again, my goal for this channel, this podcast, is to bring awareness and let everyone know about pro wrestling, to cover it like as what it is, a sport that we all love and enjoy. So that's the goal there. So let's get into the AEW review. We got a lot to get into because I have to review two shows. So yeah, let's jump into the most important part of the show here. a lot of things happened, but we're going to get into the main event. So it was Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Title. The match ended abruptly because towards the end, it seems that Hangman Adam Page suffered a concussion. So what happened here is that Moxley hit him with a clothesline, kind of turned him inside out. And looking at the replay, I looked at it a handful of times. It looks like when Moxley, like as soon as Moxley made contact with the clothesline, that might have been the actual knockout blow. That might have been what actually took him out and caused the concussion. Now, at the time of it airing, we did not know it was a concussion. I was able to see that on via postwrestling.com and as, you know, the news spread it later on throughout the day. This was not a part of the storyline. This was not a part of any angle. This was not a part of them trying to build something up. I thought it was, but looking at the seriousness and the fact that when Page was on the ground, they weren't shooting him. They rushed him out, and everyone was clearly just scrambling for time. Yeah, this was not a part of any storyline or any angle. He legitimately got knocked out and had a concussion, and they just had to cut the match off short. I'm glad we actually are in an age where they would do that. Back in the day, they might say, well, we got to finish the match. It's like, look, I understand, but I mean, in a real fight, if someone got knocked out, you cut the match off. So, yeah. So in the end, hope he's all right. Hope everything's fine. Again, the word is that it's a concussion, but a concussion can range. A concussion can take you out. A concussion can end your career, or it can just cause you a little bit of damage in the short term, and then you're fine in the long run. Hard to tell. Those concussions are serious, and you just really never know what the end result is of that. So, yeah, that's how it ended. Moxley is still champion, of course, due to ref stoppage. Now, what's interesting is that they clearly had an angle that they wanted to run here, because they shot up to the skybox earlier in the night where MJF was sitting, and they showed that he wasn't there. So it looks like maybe they were planning to have MJF run down and maybe try to attack somebody and go for the title. But honestly, based off the promo, I'm jumping all around. I promise I'm going to go in order to give you a full review here. But basing that off of what happened earlier in the night between MJF and William Regal, maybe it's a chance that he actually was not planning on attacking anyone. It probably was a case where Moxley would have won. I'm sure Adam Page was not going to be winning the title. Moxley would have won. And then after the match, when Moxley was celebrated, that's when we would have had MJF come out there and feign that he's going to attack him, feign that he's going to go for the title right now, go for the throat, go for blood. But instead, he says, I'm going to fight you at Full Gear, which is essentially what we got. So we have Jon Moxley versus MJF, and that's going to be a match for Full Gear. But again, it got a little jerky at the end. Completely understandable. No one expected the match to end that quickly. They had I believe it was about 10 minutes left of TV time, so they had to find a way to like get that filled and figured out, you know, that had Excalibur like run through all the matches for Dynamite, Rampage, just doing anything that they could to actually fill time. But once again, we hope that Adam Page is all right. It's unfortunate. As Taz would say on commentary, this ain't ballet. We can sit here and have conversations all day about things being scripted, things being choreographed, things being whatever, but at the end of the day, it's a dangerous game, and people get hurt every day. And look, we just hope that Adam Page is all right. But going backwards here, let's do an actual review of the match before we get to that point. Like I said, the match was pretty good. It started off where you have Moxley going through the crowd, doing the whole wild thing situation, and Adam Page pretty much like jump started that and just walked in the crowd and started attacking him. He had a moonsault off the top of the stairway deal. This match is what you would have expected based off the promo that we had last week. It was up until that point, it was a brutal match. Fights everywhere. Moxley got busted open. You had a cool spot where Paige didn't know, and then Moxley got hit with a cutter, or Paige got hit with a cutter, rather. It was shaping up to be a great match. And it still was. It just, once again, ended prematurely, but it was shaping up to be a really good match. It just would have been probably one of the better matches that AEW has had in some time. But once again, Jon Moxley is the winner via ref stoppage. Now let's go all the way back to the beginning of the show. So we start the show off with the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy going up against Death Triangle for the Trios Championship. We start the match off, and Pac is just, this feud and rivalry that is going on between Pac and Orange Cassidy is not something I thought would work, but when you get two people in there who are working two different styles, two different types of wrestling, one like deathly serious, like he's there to hurt you, he's there to win. And then you have another guy who's, meh, from wherever, whatever. He's just a guy who's just there. And then they feud. You get it interesting matchups. And I didn't expect to like this feud as much as I've been liking it. But we started off, and Pac just immediately makes a beeline to Orange Cassidy and just knocks him off the ring. He's not even the legal man, but it doesn't matter. And this match is hectic like always. These trio matches are always like a whirlwind or like a tornado. But at the end of the day, Death Triangle wins and retains the championship. Look, speaking of championships, I'm glad that Orange Cassidy won the title last week. I have yet to hear the podcast. Was it last week? It was Friday, rather. Yeah, it was Friday. I've yet to hear Jim Cornette's podcast. His head is probably going to explode. That'll be hilarious. But at the end of the day, the only reason Orange Cassidy, it makes sense for him to be the All-Atlantic champion is because he serioused it up. He's not still out there just doing the fake kicks and pretending like he's just meh. He's actually out there wrestling. He's out there when the match starts being a serious competitor. And unfortunately, the way his gimmick is structured is lost on everyone that he actually is a good professional wrestler. It's just the style with which he comes out there and how he goes about presenting his character, it kind of overshadows what he can actually do in the ring. Just like Pac. I thought Pac was a good champion. Him and Death Triangle work great as the trio's champion. They're a team that is serious. They have a pretty cool presentation. They look like they could hurt anyone on the roster. They look like if you beat them, you have elevated yourself. And that's what you want when you have someone holding your championship. But moving on here, our next match was Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm. But before we get there, we had Britt Baker in the back. I believe she was speaking to Tony Khan? Tony Khan. Was Tony Schiavone? No, it was Renee Paquette, I believe. Basically just saying that before the year's out, she will be the AEW interim women's champion. Of course, she scratched his head and said she's going to be the AEW women's champion because, as we all know, Thunder Rosa is currently the AEW women's champion. She's out with an injury, which is why we have the interim women's champion. I'm sorry. They said that either Britt Baker or Jamie Hayter will be the interim women's champion. As much as I like Britt Baker as the champion, when she goes out there, she's a star, right? She manages to get the crowd. The entire crowd is out there chanting DMD. They're with her. Jamie Hayter is becoming a rising star. Like through random matches, people are chanting Hayter, Hayter. When she's out there, the crowd is up. Like she is a star. Now, do you put the championship on a Jamie Hayter right now? No, not yet. You give that time. You let that breathe. Because again, the money match at some point in time is Jade Cargill versus whoever the current champion is. And the only way for this to work You have to have a champion who is over. Because I don't care what nobody says. Jade Cargill is the women's champion in AEW. But she just happens to be the secondary champion. So the question is, how can they elevate the main women's title to make it compete, to make that champion be competitive with a Jade Cargill? Because that's a money match. The AEW Women's Championship and the TBS title, that's the main event on anybody's pay-per-view. Especially you have the undefeated Jade Cargill versus, once again, whoever you make the champion. That's the thing. You make Jade so strong, you kind of have to make your champion just as strong, if not stronger, in order for it to be viable. Otherwise, it looks like she should be losing. But I know that's way down the line because you also don't want to be beating Jade anytime soon. So that's way down the line, but it's definitely money. But our next match was Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm. I didn't write this, but I believe this was for the championship. Yes, this was. I don't know why I didn't write that. Yes. So Hikaru Shida versus Toni Storm for the AEW Interim Women's Championship. Toni Storm wins. Toni Storm hits the Storm Zero for the win, and she retains her title. I mean, this was a pretty good match. I like Hikaru Shida. She comes out there. She kind of reminds me of like an assassin, like once again, the seriousness. We don't have enough like seriousness in pro wrestling. Everything's a joke. Everything's a hilarious gimmick. Everything's whatever. But then I say that, but then look at the people who are champions. The people who are champions epitomize what I'm saying we need more of, period. Jon Moxley goes out there, you know what his character is? He's an ass kicker. Toni Storm, you know what her character is? She can outwork you and out-wrestle you. Jade Cargill, what's her character? She can hurt you, and she has never lost. The TNT champion, Wardlow, his character is, once again, yes, that he will hurt you and he will just destroy you. No funny gimmicks, no nonsense. Wardlow is a different conversation because it seems like Wardlow was kind of cooling off ever since, MJF left. But he's heating back up now that he has Samoa Joe. Wardlow is the kind of guy who needs to be with somebody in order to keep him, I don't want to say relevant, but in order to keep him up, in order to bring out the best. He needs someone there that can bring out the best in him. By himself, it's kind of hard. Maybe not saying he can't get there, but it will take time. Again, he's relatively new. He hasn't been doing this for 25 years, 15 years. He's relatively new, and I understand that. But so that means in the meantime, he needs to be there with someone like a Samoa Joe who is a veteran, who can show him the ropes, who can teach him, who can help him to bring out that killer monster that is his character. But again, it all goes back to seriousness in wrestling. You make the people believe, then they will believe. But again, this was a good match. The crowd was hyped for Shida. But again, Toni Storm wins with the Storm Zero. After the match, we have a beatdown. I believe it looked like Britt Baker comes out with her crew. They work on Toni Storm, the whole situation. Saraya comes out there and attacks Britt Baker. Rhea comes out there and attacks Rebel. Yeah, I'm just not sure what everyone sees in Riho. I mean, where's the intimidation? I don't know. I mean, to each their own, I guess. Was the crowd even excited that Riho came back? The announcers seemed to want to make us think that. I didn't hear any cheers. I didn't hear any boos. I heard uncaring. I heard, hey, look, somebody's child has come back. I mean, like, what are we doing here? And she was their champion. If I remember correctly, Riho was the first AEW Women's Champion. And if anyone is hearing this and be like, oh, well, you just don't know Riho is a great wrestler. Let me ask you a question. If you put Riho in the ring with a Jade Cargill, who do you immediately think is winning? You put Riho in the ring with a Toni Storm, a Britt Baker, a Thunder Rosa, a Serena Deeb, what's her name? And Athena. Who's looking like the person that should be winning those matches? And this is your first AEW Women's Champion. It's a joke. The women's division is stronger now. It still needs some work, but it's much better now because, again, it doesn't matter. Women, men, doesn't matter. As long as you have people who are there who want to actually wrestle, who want to be serious, who aren't just envisioning this as, oh, I'm just here to act and have a good time. No, you're here to have a fight. I don't know. I feel like sometimes I care more about this than the people in the ring. But moving on here, we have an interview in the back with FTR. Basically, they're just saying that they have been the number one contenders for about, 4 to 5 months. And next week, it's going to be a match between Swerve and Our Glory and FTR for that number one contendership match. I don't know why. We all know what's going to happen here. FTR is going to lose, and Swerve and Your Glory is going to become the number one contenders because, I'm not trying to complain because, it does make sense that we get Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaim, and then you run it back a third time because that match was hot. I understand that. But what I don't understand is you have FTR, the best tag team in the world at this moment. And that's not even like conjecture. That's not even an opinion. They are currently the IWGP champion, which is a championship in Japan. They're the AAA tag team champion, which is the tag team title in Mexico. And they're the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champion, which is a tag team championship in the United States. Best tag team in the world. They literally have championships all over the world. But they can't seem to win a title in the promotion that is actually paying them consistently. I don't understand. Like, this is the weirdest case of you have this team who is clearly the best. Everyone can see it. All the fans, clearly all the promotion since they allow them to win their championships, but not AEW. Now, there was rumors in the back saying that maybe this is the case where the Young Bucks were holding them back, but of course they were like, we're not holding them back. But I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what to think anymore. It's just, I'm dumbfounded as to how FTR, clearly the greatest tag team in the modern era right now, today, at this moment, how they are not AEW champion. Now, at the same time, they're currently holding 3 titles at the same time, so I guess it doesn't matter. But I don't know, it's weird because they're going to lose next week on TV, and I just don't understand that, and I'm not here for it, but I guess it is what it is. Up next, we have Jay Lethal and Darby Allin in the back. I got something to say about Jay Lethal, which involving that the Chris Jericho situation. Well, I'll speak on that a little bit later. But we got Jay Lethal and Darby Allin in the back. They're like I guess it's like the garage area. So Jay Lethal wants a rematch. He wants a rematch because Darby Allin beat him a couple weeks ago, and he wants a rematch. And Darby Allin is saying, "Well, what you going to do every time we fight? You want a rematch, and then I beat you, then a rematch. Wah 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 wah." All right. So what you expect to happen happens. They have a fight. They're in the back. They're brawling. And then what happens here is they end up putting Darby Allin under the garage door. And they kind of just like, they pull it down and just hold him there. Then you have on the other side, Allin gets locked into a figure 4 by Jay Lethal on the other side of the garage door while they're beating up Darby Allin. So this is clearly setting up a match next week, I would assume. Or maybe the next pay-per-view is November. So yeah, this is probably setting up a match next week for Lethal and Darby Allin. What is interesting about this entire situation is that this was supposed to be we're going to have no contact, we're not going to fight each other. And then they sent the interview off, and then I guess that breaks the no contact rule. Is that how that works? If you send the interview away, now you can make contact? Why hasn't everyone done that? Why doesn't everyone just be like, well, thanks, guy, you can go now, and now we can have a fight? Why wait? Man, people been stupid and been tripping this whole time. I want seriousness in wrestling, and I want consistency. You know, if you have consistency, guys like me, people who watch it, the fans, it helps us understand what's going on. It helps us be like, okay, well, no, they can't do that because typically that's not how that works. But if you change the rules every other day, how can we keep up? Yeah. So let's get into what was probably the hottest thing on the show. In the ring. I have a whole breakdown of this because this is going to probably be a good chunk of this show. In the ring, we have Tony Schiavone in the ring with William Regal. Regal doesn't get to say much, but what we do get is MJ out. He comes out immediately, and then he begins to tell this story. So MJF goes out there. He speaks on how he got to become an extra when he was 19 in the WWE. Apparently, they called him there for tryouts. And he got to go there to do a couple of trial matches. Regal himself told him that he was going to be able to do those matches. And then that was the point when he was able to sell himself to Regal, because Regal told him, look, he grabbed him in the room and said, you have 3 minutes to impress me, go. And I guess he cut the cleanest promo that he could possibly cut, right? And Regal claimed that he could get him a job in WWE. Regal then told him he was too young when he found that MJF was only 19 years old. But what Regal said was this: he told him to send in the match and a promo every single month. So that's just what MJF did. Month 1, he sends a match and a promo, just cutting his life away. Month 2, he sends him another match and another promo, just giving it his all. Month 3 comes, and then apparently Regal sent an email on month 3 basically saying that he was not good enough. This, of course, lit a fire under his ass. MJF, then he said when he saw that email, it made him want to, I'm on YouTube, so I can't use this word, so I'm going to phrase this a different way. MJF saw the email and it said he made him want to do the unspeakable to himself, and he wanted to quit the business. I like this because this is something we don't see. We're making the MJF character real. We're making him relatable. We're understanding why he is doing the things that he is doing. Let me tell you one thing. This right here made MJF a babyface. He is the loudest, the hottest babyface in this company right now. He is no longer a heel. He will get the CM Punk level chance now. MJF is the star that any company would ever want to have. He is the hottest. And who knew that a guy like MJF, who was able to get the crowd going, make everyone hate him, will be able to become such a star and be a face. He was so good at making everyone despise him. But I mean, yeah, he's the biggest babyface in the promotion right now. Let me tell you how good of a babyface he is. He managed to make the crowd boo William Regal. William Regal is the most beloved figure in professional wrestling. And he managed to make the crowd hate Regal. Do you know how good you have to be to make the crowd hate Regal? Do you understand the match? The match at Full Gear, which is what I spoke about earlier at the top of the show, what they announced between MJF and Jon Moxley, that will be, I'm buying that. If I wasn't doing a show, I'm buying that pay-per-view. If I had no skin in the game, I had no reason to do any of this, I'm dropping $50 to watch that pay-per-view, because for that match alone, I know it's going to be hot. I know it's going to be what it needs to be. It's going to be great. And I'm going to have to pay attention to the press scrum, because that's going to be interesting too. Hopefully, whoever wins the championship can just, speak about the match. But anyway, and if MJF wins, I guarantee you in that match, Jon Moxley is going to get booed. they're going to boo Jon Moxley. And it's crazy because it's almost as if Moxley is the transitional champion because he's not really getting a decent title reign, but with so many things that have already happened, it's almost like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter because everything's good, everything's crisp, everything's falling in line, everything's making sense. We know the whole point is to get to MJF being champion. But and then William Regal with the promo, with the equally amazing promo. I forgot how intense William Regal could be with a promo. You could tell he was just channeling everything he used to do back in the day. He was in the moment. He was ready for this. William Regal with the promo. Saying he sent that email to motivate MJF. And then Regal says something that is, damn. He says he's still not impressed with MJF because he has to take shortcuts. And then he proceeds to turn his back on MJF and says, if you want to be a true villain, then do it. MJF puts on the ring to potentially hit William Regal, the beloved William Regal, in the back with the diamond ring, but he can't do it. He can't pull the trigger. And Regal says MJF still has a lot to learn. I thought last week's segment between Adam Page and Moxley was one of the best promos I've seen. This week's segment between Regal and MJF had to be one of the greatest promos. I feel like I'm gonna say this a lot, and that's good. You should be topping yourself each week. This had to be one of the greatest promos that I've seen. I mean, again, fast forwarded, I'm buying that pay-per-view next month. What was that, Full Gear? I'm buying it. If I wasn't doing a show, I'm buying it. Off the strength of the story that they've told, what's going to happen, and the emotion that's going to be in that match when it happens. Like, it's going to be a cut. And they've managed to make MJF become a babyface. He gets the loudest cheers. You know why? Because MJF is a star. He's doing what I say you're supposed to do. Take it seriously. You're a professional wrestler. Your job is to win championships and to get checks and titles. That's it. And this is what's happening here. So, yeah, it was a hell of a promo. And it was a hell of a promo. And I'm glad that's something we got to see. And I'm really curious to see what they will be doing next week. How they're going to continue to build off this. Because I know Regal, he can't really take any physicality. I mean, he had the surgery. He spoke about his near-death experience when he first got to the company. So, what are we going to do here? Because I know he can't hit him. But that almost doesn't matter. And it's almost that. If they ever wanted to switch and make MJF back a heel, they got a surefire way to do it. Because no one can hit William Regal. I don't know what level of physicality he can take. Maybe he can take a bump. Not sure. But maybe he could take a bump. Not sure. But, we will see because, yeah, that was a promo. So, moving on. I don't want to linger there too long. The Acclaimed are backstage. Basically, they're just saying that they will be beating the varsity athletes. It's going to be a titles versus trademarks. Look, this was stupid to start last week. This is stupid to continue for another week or handful of days. Let the Acclaim beat the varsity athletes and make the Acclaim get it back so they can go back with the whole Scissor Me Daddy and all that stuff. Well, why would you take away, the hottest thing going, period? You think it's what I feel like they thought that I was going to get Mean Mark Sterling heat. It didn't. It's stupid. It's just, what is this, Vince McMahon? Take away the thing that gets you over to see if you can get over something else, why? If I succeed at this, why do I have to prove my worth by succeeding in another avenue? Like, I've already succeeded. I can't do everything, but I mean, sure. So we're still in the back. We have a sit-down interview between Bryan Danielson and Wheeler Yuta, and Renee Paquette is the one orchestrating this interview. Bryan Danielson is praising Daniel Garcia, saying that he could be the best wrestler in the world if he was able to be under the guidance of the Blackpool Combat Club. Yuta definitely takes offense to this because he doesn't understand that Garcia is using him. Yeah, I don't understand why Bryan doesn't see that either. Last time I checked, Garcia knocked him in the head with the championship just last week. And no anger, no look, face me in the ring one-on-one, and then, and no nothing. He's just, well, he could still be great. I'm with Yuta. Like, this is, and I also don't understand what story is being told. What matches are we facilitating here? Chris Jericho is going to, at some point, at at a Final Battle, he's eventually going to face some legendary Ring of Honor champion. Don't know who that's going to be. Maybe it's CM Punk himself. I don't know. He was a Ring of Honor champion. Boy, that would be interesting, actually. Chris Jericho versus CM Punk, or who knows? But I say that to say, where does Bryan Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, Danny Garcia fit in? Are we going to get a match? I guess the only logical thing would be to get a match between Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. But I mean, sure. I don't know. Maybe I just have to give it time. Maybe we just need more time to hype this up and push this forward and see where we can go in the future. But moving on here, our next match, our co-main event, was Dalton Castle going up against Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World title. Chris Jericho wins. He hits the Judas effect for the 1, 2, 3. This match was okay. I don't know. I feel like I expected more, but I guess I can't really expect a Chris Jericho to have 5-star matches every time he goes out there. No shade to Chris Jericho, but I mean, look, it's not 20 years ago. It just is what it is, right? Same way I can't go on the basketball court and run 5 or 6 fulls up and down the court and have all my win and be fine. Things change. We get older. It happens. It just is what it is. I'm not the same athlete I was then, and he's not the same athlete he was now. Not just now. In saying that, his Chris Jericho being champion is great because what it's doing. Because now I finally understand with the announcement that Final Battle is going to be in December. So what's happening here is they're building a story for Jericho to lead into the pay-per-view. So whoever he's going to face at Final Battle will be the culmination of what is going to be a 2-month-long build. Now the question is, who is he facing? I need to actually do. I'm gonna do this off air. I'm probably gonna. Maybe I'll bring this to you on tomorrow's show and kind of go through the past Ring of Honor World Champions and see who is available to be gotten and see who he could face, because that's the end of the story. The end of the story is real predictable. Chris Jericho faces some legendary Ring of Honor champion, and then that champion beats him. That's fine. There's not always an issue of things being predictable here, but it's just a matter of who is that and what kind of match will we see. But again, this match was decent. It was nothing to really write home about. If we're doing star ratings, may I give it a 3? I mean, it was a decent match. Dalton Castle out there, with the boys, peacocking, all that type of stuff. Taz is just railing into him. He has no time for Dalton Castle in his world. It's just, he don't get it. And hey, a lot of people don't either, but I enjoyed it. It was fine to me. And then the important part is once the match is over, again, Chris Jericho is still your Ring of Honor champion. Jericho says he's going to be attacking everyone because, again, his whole shtick is that he's going to be attacking, ring announcers, commentators, wrestlers, referees, all that. And then he goes to get Ian Riccaboni in order to attack him, the The JAS, they grab him off the commentary booth. They hold him up. They're about to beat him up and attack him. And then Jerry Lynn comes out there. It's like, hey, stop what you're doing. And Jericho grabs Jerry Lynn and hits the tombstone pile driver on the Ring of Honor Championship. This shit look weak. It looked horrible. I mean, I've never seen a guy drop someone so careful. Now, if someone here and be like, well, what did you expect? You expected him to ram his head on there and injure him? No. I expect a 20-plus year professional like Chris Jericho to know how to do a move that looks like it hurts someone, but it didn't. That's what I expect. See, that's what I would do because I'm not a pro wrestler. I wouldn't do a move that I can't do. When the last have we ever seen Chris Jericho do a tombstone pile driver? What was that? Why would he do that? What was the purpose of that? That was weird. Was Undertaker in the ring? I mean, was Undertaker in the crowd? He was trying to get a rise out of him. He was trying to get a pop out of him. What the hell was that? That was totally out of character. But in any event, I do want to make a prediction here. Perhaps that at Final Battle, we're getting Chris Jericho versus Jay Lethal. When I think of Ring of Honor, I think Jay Lethal. Like, I can't think of anyone else who is Ring of Honor outside of Jay Lethal. When you think Ring of Honor, you think Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal is that company. He has been here the longest. Well, you think Jay Lethal or you think AJ Styles, but AJ Styles ain't coming back. I'm sorry. I think AJ Styles, that's Impact. Jesus Christ. This is an interesting thing. I apologize for that. You think AJ Styles, you think Impact. But you think Ring of Honor, you think Jay Lethal. Like, there's nobody else. Maybe CM Punk. That's the only person I can think of. But I'm pretty sure we're going to get Chris Jericho versus Jay Lethal for the Ring of Honor World Champion. And Jay Lethal will be winning that Ring of Honor title once we get to Final Battle in December. Rolling on here, we have a cutaway scene in the back where Jade Cargill she wants to get her belt back. It looks like she's going to be on Rampage this Friday. She's going to either hijack the show for 60 minutes or she's going to get her belt back. So I guess I have to watch Rampage. They're doing a pretty good job of forcing me to watch Rampage because I like Jade Cargill. I think she's a star. I think she should be the world's champion. Now I understand why she couldn't be because but I mean she's not ready yet, but she will be eventually. And then, of course, after that, we have the main event between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. But I already went through that match and explained what happened. Moxley is still the winner due to referee stoppage. And once again, we hope that Adam Page is safe and sound and that he is fine. Hope he can walk again, like Moxley said. Hope he can play with his kids. Hope everything is all right. Because despite what I said a handful of weeks ago and the rant and how I've been feeling and all that, you don't want to see a guy get hurt. You don't want to see a guy no longer able to live his dream. You don't want to see a guy no longer able to put food on the table for his family. You don't want to see that. That's not my angle. My angle is not that. My angle is, just calling it how I see it. But we wish him a speedy recovery, and hopefully he will be back soon to, wow the fans, because he was really getting over. He was really getting back over with the fans. But hopefully he's okay. And then, of course, this is when they set everything up with MJF. But again, I already went over that. But that was AEW. Overall, it was a pretty decent show. I liked how they paced it. It wasn't a lot of matches. I'm looking over my notes and script for this show, and I did not have. I count. How many matches do you have actually? I'm looking at 1, 2, 3. 2, 4. Man, I'm gonna look at like 4 matches. We only had like 4 matches on this show, and it flew. That's fine if you can pace it out correctly. See, now I know they had to leave a lot of room for that William Regal promo. They knew that was gonna go about 15, 20 minutes, but it was fine. It worked for me. It worked for me. So, now with AEW. Pretty good show. So, switching gears here, let's go to NXT, which was, once again, another surprisingly good show. Now, the main thing that made this show good is because of how they structured it. Because they structured it by having a lot of AEW. Now, what made this show good, NXT that is how they structured the show. They structured it by having a lot of WWE talent coming out there, like our very first match, which was Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez. Rhea Ripley won. She ended up winning with the Riptide. As much as I enjoyed the match, I enjoyed the crowd. The crowd was up. The crowd loved the Judgment Day. It was like entering Bizarro Land. The crowd chanting Judgment Day, Judgment Day. They love Rhea Ripley. Everything's hot. But isn't the point of a pick your poison match to put your opponent in peril, in jeopardy, but the opponent still wins eventually to prove that they're tough and strong and all that? What was the point in Perez losing? Clean in the middle of the ring, no interference, no one jumps out. She doesn't get any offense after the match. She doesn't get to shine and be great. She just, this real star in Rhea Ripley comes to NXT, destroys her. I mean, she didn't really put up much of a fight. She dominates her throughout the match, and then pins her 1, 2, 3. Cool. So that means that Cora Jade is going to be beating her, right? Because clearly she ain't good enough yet. Like I don't understand. The point is to put someone over, right? But I mean, there is any. I would say maybe I have to wait till next week, but there is no next week. Halloween Havoc is this Saturday. There is no next week, but I mean, sure. After that, we have, look like we're about to get another return here. We have Tony D'Angelo in Stacks is out there. He's about to announce who Stacks' opponent's going to be. He's ready. The crowd is ready, but he'll do it after the commercial break. That was funny. I like that. Popped me. That kind of I do like the acknowledgement of them having to go to a commercial break. That was actually hilarious. It made me laugh. That was funny. But before we get back in the ring, we cut back to the back. I don't like when they do this. They're in the middle of one segment and then they switch over to another segment and then they switch back to the current segment. First of all, it's very confusing for me, a guy who's trying to write notes for a show. But secondly, it's very disjointed. Like, I can only imagine the people in the ring just waiting, like, I just hope this guy hurry up with this promo. Imagine if they cut to a backstage segment and now there's a whole fight. Now the guy's like, just in the ring watching, because they have the screen up so everyone can see it, so the audience can see it, so the people in the ring are like, wow, that's crazy. That guy getting beat up. Huh, can't be me. Like, I don't understand. But, oh, right. I guess I should explain what that promo was. It's Grayson Waller cutting a promo on Apollo Crews, and basically we get the fact that Chucky comes on screen and says the match that he has with Apollo Crews will be a spin the wheel match. So I guess they'll figure out what type of match it will be when we get to Halloween Havoc. They're really pumping up this Halloween theme pay-per-view, which, yes, sure, it's Halloween Havoc, that's fine. We get back to the ring. It looks like Tony D'Angelo has chosen Nakamura. Nakamura gets a huge pop. Once again, star. Yeah, damn, I didn't write who won, but I know who won. Nakamura won. I feel like I was supposed to say that internally, but yes, Nakamura won. Nakamura beats Dax. He hits 2 Kinshasas. He hits a Kinshasa, knocks him outside the ring, then he has one in the ring for the 1, 2, 3. But once again, this was a very good episode of NXT. I have a lot more to review. I'm just reiterating that here. This was a good episode of NXT. Why? Because you had stars. There aren't enough stars on this show, and I understand it's basically a developmental show. That's what it is. Although, It's a developmental show when they want it to be, and it's a third brand when they want it to be. But I mean, NXT is a developmental show. That's what it is. That's what it always is. It's just a developmental show that we see on TV every day. It is the C show. It's a strong C show. It's a good C show, but it's a C show. Yeah, I mean, it was the match itself was decent enough. Nakamura wins, beat Stacks, and Tony D'Angelo was like, "You have my respect." So I guess him losing gave him his respect. But I guess the story being told here is that the fact that he was able to hang in with a Nakamura and not lose, and he did lose. Rather, he was able to hang in there with a Nakamura and not embarrass himself. That made him be a good competitor, or that made him that gave him his respect back. So yeah, rolling on here. We have Axiom and Nathan Frazier in the back. They are basically speaking on their match from last week. And then we have Von Wagner come back and go in the back. Look, I don't know what he was talking about. I got to be honest. I'm not sure. He probably was hyping up some match for next week or Halloween Havoc. I don't know. Although I will say this, when I first saw Von Wagner wrestling, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a guy. He big guy, pretty decent in the ring." Because I think he had a match with, I forget who had the match with, another big guy a couple weeks back. But whoever he had the match with, I'm like, okay, this is a good match, good clean match, short. Using the strengths, because we have big dudes like that. You got to keep the match simple: punch, kick, clothesline, elbow, 1, 2, 3. You keep it real simple. You don't want to get to doing stupid stuff. But the more and more I see it, from the more I see him talking, I'm like, first of all, this guy is screaming, "I need manager," because whatever he was saying was stiff. The fact that I'm saying whatever he was saying and I don't know, considering the fact I'm doing a show and I can either rewind it, but I chose not to because it was going to be unentertaining. So he needs a manager. I think he does have a manager. It's Stone. Am I right? Am I tripping? Yes. Oh my God, yes, he does have a manager. Mr. Stone is his manager. Why is he not talking for him? How do you have a manager in a Mr. Stone and you have Von Wagner out there speaking in any regard? The only thing Von Wagner needs to be saying is, "I will hurt you," or "pain," or "crush," or something along those lines. Like, Wagner needs to have his managerial license revoked because, bruh, that ain't the move. So moving on from here, we get to our next match, which is Alba Fire versus Sonya Deville. Alba Fire wins. Alba Fire wins. She rolls up Sonya Deville for the 1, 2, 3. This was a pretty stiff match, meaning this was a pretty hard-hitting match from the get-go. The match kind of breaks down later on because I'm confused on this here. Members of Toxic Attraction are outside the ring with Sonya Deville, right? No problem there. But they all kind of get in the ring, and I guess no one threw an actual punch, but they kind of fight around and kind of fight Alba Fire. But no DQ from the referee. I like when they throw it up, when they say referee's discretion. Like, all right, that sounds like a cop out for it. Well, we know he should be disqualifying him, but he just decided he doesn't want to. All right, whatever. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't quite understand it, but. Yeah, that was the match there. Alba Fire going up against Sonya Deville, and Alba Fire wins. This brings Mandy Rose back. She just cuts a promo on the apron about being the best, that type of situation, all that. In the back, we got Wesley and Ora Mensah. Got them backstage before they could even speak on anything that they were trying to talk about. They get jumped by Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. They fight off in the ring, which then leads us to our next match, which is Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Ora Mensah and Wes Lee. I feel like I need to do some, well, I'll do that on the Halloween Havoc prediction show. Please tune in on Friday if you want to hear my predictions for that show. However, I'm pretty sure Ormond and Wesley are not winning that. Who was in there? Is Ormond in there? Yeah, they're both in there. Ormond and Wesley, they are not winning the North American Championship. So it looks like what they're being positioned for, they're probably being positioned to be a tag team. I can see that. But this match, what did I have here? Oh my God, I am confused. I'm going to leave this in, and I'm going to try to do this as podcasty as possible. I wrote Hayes with the win after hitting a leg drop from the top rope. Right. I don't know why my eyes just got confused there. Right. Carmelo Hayes wins. He has like a leg drop, which is kind of like, what is that move called? Not a Houston Hangover. Blockbuster? Is it a blockbuster? I think it's a blockbuster when he hits a leg drop off the top rope. So Hayes hits that on, I think it was on Wesley or on Mensa, one of them. What a 1, 2, 3. And of course it doesn't matter because Lee and Orr get jumped at the end of the match, but this was really hyping up the ladder match because all the members of the people who are going to be in the ladder match, they all come out there and then they all fight off ladders, people flying, dive spots, chaos. That's what we got there. So again, I will say this was one of the better go home shows I've seen of any promotion in a while. They actually took the time to promote each match and get you hyped for each match that's going to happen this Saturday. This is what a go-home show should look like. The go-home show for any pay-per-view is literally just a commercial. It's like, look, we don't really care if you watch this show, but we're going to tell you what's going to happen this Saturday, this Sunday when you watch our show. Just a commercial, and they did a good job advertising for Saturday. In the back, we have an interview with Brian Breaker. He's speaking about spearing Ilya Dragunov. He's not mad at it. He's perfectly fine because look, Dragunov hit him, so he speared him back. Done. That's just what men do. You hit me, I hit you. We shake hands, we move on. Simple as that. No hard feelings, right? And basically, he's ready for the KO show. So we get back in the ring. We have the Schism going up against the OC and Cameron Grimes. The OC and Cameron Grimes win. The OC hit the Magic Killer for the 1, 2, 3. What I'm actually kind of shocked at is that Vic Joseph actually mentioned that Carl Anderson is, well, he said a champion in Japan. I guess he was not going to say, yeah, Carl Anderson is a current never openweight champion. Now, this, again, I need help understanding something. Carl Anderson is the current ever openweight champion. He has to wrestle on November 5th in a Saudi Arabia show. He's supposed to also have a show in Japan, wrestling for that same championship, right? How is he going to do both on the same day? Now it's been acknowledged that he's a champion in Japan, and to the best of my knowledge, New Japan Pro Wrestling is still advertising that match. So, I mean, that's November. That's a couple weeks away. There has to be something. Is there some kind of an agreement? Are we going to get, who is he fighting? Hikuleo. Are we going to get it where Hikuleo gets to come to, is Hikuleo going to travel all the way to Saudi Arabia to have to, get that championship? I mean, no. The more logical thing is that at some point, Carl Anderson is going to go to Japan and he's going to defend the title before the November 5th. I mean, that would just make sense to me. But I mean, at this point in time, he's double booked. Now, it would be hilarious if we're doing all this analyzation and figuring things out and he just forgot that he's being double booked. That would be ridiculous. But as of today, he is double booked. And he has to be on two different sides of the world. Well, we'll see how he figures that out. So in the back, we got a contract signing. Nothing happened at all. I'm not sure why they put this on TV. It was just Starks, Lions, speaking about their match, signing a contract. Like, literally nothing happened. They just signed a contract and everybody left. Was the camera needed? I feel like someone snuck a camera in there by mistake because it was nothing. Moving on there, we get a side-by-side interview between Julius Creed and Damian Kemp. Like I said before, I like when they do these style of interview. The side-by-side interview. Things get intense. People don't wait their turn to speak. You interrupt because, look, if you're arguing with somebody, you're being interrupted. You feel me? You're not going to, oh, I apologize. My heat is about to come on, so it's definitely loud. You're going to hear it in the background. I apologize, but it's not what I can do here. Well, actually, it is. Give me a second here. Nah, never mind. I was going to turn it off, but you know what, whatever. Because there's other people in my house. I don't want to freeze them to death as I try to record a show. Just bear with me. It's going to be a little loud. We're almost out of here, though. Where else I at? Right. Julius Creed and Damien Kim side by side interview. Yeah, I like when they do this style of interview. I mean, it works for me. It allows the talent to just talk to each other. There's no moderator there. There's nothing. You just get to go. It's a great way to hype up matches. We move on from there. We have Alicia Taylor. She announces that Shotzi is going to be the host of Halloween Havoc. So she's going to be the host. Zion Quinn goes out there. He says he wants to be the host. So I guess he has nothing else better to do. He has no match. And then Quincy Elliott, the Super Diva, comes out there and says that he wants to be the host as well. So this sets up a match between Quincy Elliott and Alicia. Damn it. This sets up a match between Quincy Elliott and Zion Quinn. That's what I wrote, but actually I guess the match was already set. It's just that Shotzi is able to put stakes and stipulations on matches. I guess she's a general manager. I'm not sure how that works out. So yeah, we get our match. Quincy Elliott versus Zion Quinn. Quincy Elliott wins. He hits the Bison. Quincy Elliott hits the bonsai drop on Zion Quinn for the 1, 2, 3. Vic Joseph and Booker T are both hilarious on commentary. Vic Joseph trying to shoot all his shots. She's trying to shoot every single shot he can possibly shoot with shots he's sitting there. Talking about him and Shotzi could do a costume together. They could be bacon and eggs. She all excited. Who gets to be the eggs? He talking about he wants to be a costume peanut butter and jelly. Damn, Vic, did you forget your mic was live? My man just went LeBron James with how many shots he was trying to shoot. Look, hey, look, bro. Look, brother, I understand Shotzi is a very attractive woman. I get it. It must be the tattoos in the hair for you. I understand. But you gotta chill out, bro. Did you have some water at the announce table? You should have been sipping it. You gotta chill out, sir. And Booker T just tried his best not to get canceled over there. Like he literally said, "I'm trying not to judge. I had a good friend in Gold Dust give you the shirt off his back, and then he just left it alone. he just see if we can put this type of stuff in front of like a real man or something like that. He like, man, look, I'm just gonna lay out. I enjoy having a job. I'm gonna let y'all have this one, bro. He ain't say much during this match, bro, but it was hilarious. So speaking of that, we swivel on to our next segment, which is Chase U. Pretty simple. Chase U in the back. They're going over the history of Halloween Havoc, all the way from Hogan to Cameron Grimes' match last year. We're just going all through there. Chucky shows up on the screen. I guess there's some kind of collaboration with Chucky. I understand Chucky is on the USA Network, so this is probably some type of cross promotion. And I mean, well, it's Halloween, so I guess it's more topical to have Chucky than anybody else. Although they could do the Halloween franchise, but that franchise is not on the USA Network, so why would they do that, right? And then going from there, we get another match. We get Raquel Rodriguez versus Cora Jade. Cora Jade wins the match via DQ. The match was going great, but for some reason, Raquel Gonzalez ends up hitting Cora Jade with a kendo stick. Now, I know Cora Jade brings the kendo stick in the ring first, and she's attempting to hit her with it, but it doesn't work. And then Raquel Rodriguez just goes in and just wails on Cora Jade. Beats the shit out of her, gets her out the ring. Cora Jade's laughing like, ha, 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 I got you because she won. I guess. But it was a quick match. Maybe they were running low on time. Not sure what happened there. Man, I didn't write this. More happened. I think somebody got beat up or something. I'm not sure. I have to go back. I apologize. I didn't write that down. And then our last segment of the night. Was the KO show. Before we get to the KO show, there was something going on in the background, in the backstage area, like a party. I might get killed for saying this, but I feel like that buried the segment. I mean, the guys brought it back up, but I mean, you literally got them in the back saying, "Let's take a shot every time something stupid happens on TV." I'm sorry, are you telling me that I'm watching stupid things on my TV? I thought I was watching real things. I thought I was watching professional wrestling. I thought I was watching some, a realistic form of entertainment. Are you telling me that wrestling is fake? Like, why would you even put this on TV and say that we're going to take a shot every time someone does something stupid, and then allude to the fact that they have to do the promo hits, like they have to say Halloween Havoc all the time, or they have to say this Saturday, or the gestures that Ilya Dragunov has to do. Like, what's the purpose of this? Why? I guess that's what we cute, like a wink, wink, and a nod to the smart fan. Like, yeah, we hear you, wink, wink. Yeah, we know what we're doing, wink, wink. Well, all right, thanks for telling me it's phony. Like, it's just stupid. I don't understand. But we get through everything here. We have all the guests out there. All the guests was Braun Breaker, JD McDonough, and Ilya Dragunov. They're basically all just doing a sit down to hype up the match. JD brings up the fact that the other men have attacked each other. Ilya says he did not make a mistake by hitting Braun. Braun says he will lose the title over his dead body. Braun being Braun. And KO brings up the fact that the strategy clearly was to have the dudes fight each other and JD to sit back and watch everything. And then, like expected, at some point, all of them fight off, and they all just fight all in the ring. And then Austin Theory comes down and raises the briefcase when Braun Breaker was the only one in the ring. Has it been established that Money in the Bank briefcase can be cashed in on any champion? I don't think that has ever been. I guess it makes sense. No one ever said that it has to be on your show. I know before when there were multiple Money in the Bank, sure, but no one ever said it had to be on that particular show. I guess in theory, you could cash it on any champion, but why would you? Why would you go down and cash it in on the C-level champion when you could cash it in on, I don't know, the world champion? Now, realistically, I understand what's happening here. Austin Theory ain't cashed in that title on Roman Reigns. They've built too much. They've done too much. That ain't happening. So the only out they have is to have him to cash it in on Braun Breaker. And that's probably what they're going to do. And maybe it all makes sense. Maybe this is why Austin Theory has been losing, because he's leaving the territory. Now he's going to come to NXT and get hot again. I mean, that's what they do. I hear that's what they used to do back in the day. The problem is we have TV. So I just saw him lose for like several weeks. Now he's going to go on NXT and become great. Like, what are we doing here? Like, but yeah. But that was the show. So had the doubleheader today. Had to review both shows. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Once again, tomorrow we have no more current wrestling to review until you hear my voice on Monday. On Monday next week, we will then be reviewing. What are we reviewing? We're reviewing a lot. Yeah, that's gonna be a packed show. We're doing a review of SmackDown, a review of SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and we're doing a review of Halloween Havoc. That's going to be a super packed show. I don't think I'm probably going to record this show over a series of days and piece it together beautifully, because that's probably that's a 2-hour show. So I hope you strap in. That's a 2.5 hour show. So I hope you're ready. That's going to be a long one. But that is Monday. As far as this week, tomorrow we're going to have a review on ECW One Night Stand 2006. Going to go over there. We're going to go over a little bit of the history and whatnot. That should be a fun show. And then, as I brought up at the top of the hour, on Friday, we're going to be doing a Halloween Havoc prediction show. And also, we're going to be doing a review of AEW Pro Wrestling. They have the gym. Give me 1 second. I do not want to disrespect the name because this person is actually the founder of that company, if I understand correctly. So, one moment. I'm just going back. Right. The Jim Lyman Memorial Tournament show. If you want to watch that show, you can go to High Spots TV. That's where they streamed their pay-per-view at the time. I think the show aired last week. So go to High Spots TV or go to AAW. I think it's AAW Pro. Once again, let me give clear information. Yes, AAWPro.com for all information on them. I just want to be clear. This is not a sponsored video. This is not a sponsored podcast. They did not contact me and ask me to review the show and give them any whatever. This is something I want to do. I want to start speaking on other independent wrestling promotions. I don't need to give all my review time and credibility to an AEW or a WWE or Ring of Honor. These are already established, well-known promotions. You know, let's give this shine to other people. So that's the show, and that's where we're going to be headed there. That's the direction for the next couple days until I meet up with you on Monday. That's going to be a big show Monday. So if you would like to follow us on Twitter, please do so at AWN_IF. If you would like to email the show, please do so at actionwrestlingnews@gmail.com. Also, check out our website at actionwrestlingnews.podbeam.com. If you would like to support the show, you can do so via PayPal. There will be a link in the show notes, and you can find a link on the website. Also, you can subscribe to the channel on YouTube. Just search for Action Wrestling News. And if you are looking for action, wrestling, and news, keep it right here every Monday through Friday. Have a great day, everyone.